Good evening, TAs from the UK. 6:30. Well, I've done a little video about an hour ago, and I hadn't used it in the covert abusers that I'm exposing, who were doing the UK government brutality, abusive strategies linked to track and trace, and using government graded technologies linked to optics, linked to armed forces, radar and sonar, and add-on in technologies, see-through technologies. And we're doing the disgusting, non-consented quest for neuroscience, brain-computer interfacing strategies, and they want free research of TIs in the UK and around the world. Just an experiment I did last night when I was disturbed with equipment being moved around my bed. Now, on my screensaver, you'll see a skull, fluorescent, glowing. Now, when it was pitch black last night in my bedroom, I'll get my phone out so I can see where I'm going, and I looked at my screensaver and then closed my eyes. Yeah, just a little experiment. And then that was projected. Just what it means, this experiment you can all do in pitch darkness. Yeah, that's, even if you look at it now, kind of thing, and close your eyes. Yeah, like you do with fireworks and bright lights. If you close your eyes, the bright lights are still illuminated in your mind. Yeah, and so when I did that last night, yeah, the covert ops, due to their communications, were startled and thought they had thought as a scientific goal to see what they're seeing, trying to make out that was from my own thought. But it weren't. It's from my screensaver. Just a little experiment. And that's how, due to the communications, I know they're doing PSYOPS, psychological warfare, and doing neuroscience, the Gateway Process Project, while targets are sleeping, while I'm sleeping, or my mother or my brother. Yeah, trying to manipulate our minds, manipulate our dreams, and thinking they can brain-computer interface it back to government abusers who want to do research in neuroscience, skullduggery, want it all free, and think they can list people, and think they can also do illegal profiles, getting other people's brain-computer interface dream interpretation thoughts onto the computers, and try and stitch up people like me or my mother or anyone else by making out people are suffering mentally and are having nightmares. So that's the experiment I did, and it proves that their transmissions, their communications, these covert operators, yeah, will destroy themselves and messing up 24 hours a day. So the last video, my apps, infrasound, ultrasound, didn't show no detection today. But after I finished the video, as you can see just now at the top of my screen, they just zap me. Yeah, so that's how these covert operators are tripping up. Yeah, they're messing up everything they're trying to do for Coventry Council establishments, public health, healthcare, NHS, mental health, and for the police force. Yeah, they thought it was groundbreaking research. That's what it's all about. They're trying to make a name for themselves in the UK government, trying to make out they are brilliant researchers, intelligent researchers, doing groundbreaking scientific research, clinical research on people like me or my mother or my brother, and they're masters of deception, masters of manipulation, and masters of fraud. We've all been taught to criminal practice, and I want the senior peers all struck off, linked to the Sondar Centre doctors, psychiatrists, linked to the mental health administrators, healthcare and public health, one big collaborating family, and the senior peers have to be struck off for allowing it to carry on. Well, they've drafted in loads of NHS, human biology researchers, human anatomy researchers. That's why we do track and trace out on people's bodies. And because they're fraudsters, we've used other people's bodies, trying to state it's me, my mother, or my brother. That's what I'm exposing. For them carry on every day for so many years, over a decade, they'll deny it all. Yeah, they have to be struck off. Yeah, because I've stated before, clarify, reiterate, healthcare workers, public health abuse workers, NHS workers, and wannabe researchers, yeah, do not go out on COVID duty. Do not hide 24 hours a day, look into people's homes and think that they can hand in or get court orders from these illegal criminal practice, non-consented clinical close-up photographs, videos, or even sound recordings. Yeah, they can't use that against me or my mother or my brother. But they're still, because they're bona fide criminal practicing fraudsters, yeah, a bunch of racist, bona fide haters, hating people like me because I'm exposing them. And I've stated before, I'll reiterate again, the person in charge and the boys and girls he's got around, surrounding me every day, are bona fide sex cases, bona fide peeping toms, modern day peeping toms, bona fide pedophiles, bona fide rainbow generation. Got no qualms. Looking at people's bodies, people's genitals, whether they're in the bath, whether in bed, in their own privacy, in their home. Yeah? And we're not going to let them get away with it. Addressing it normally comes up, so I'm just seeing what the problem is. So we're going to address nearby. As you can see, and as you can see, they've collaborated the frequency to different code operators that know how to use equipment. See from the frequency, we're on 3.9 on the last two, and one's 8.2. A couple of minutes apart from each other at different addresses. So down to Coventry Police, West Midlands Police Force, the Coventry undercovers to warn Coventry Council establishments, sectors, healthcare, public health, NHS, mental health, and the Swansea Centre doctor psychiatrists. They can no longer carry on ever again going OTT on surveillance monitoring, whoever they're paying to sit on COVID duty, to use track and trace technologies, outlining technologies to watch people's bodies. Day in, day out, because we're causing radiation damage. And they can't sound record people in their own homes, even if they're singing a song. They can't go into workplaces no more, manipulating, paying off managers, supervisors, and implementing implanting over-operators in there. Yeah, people from colleges, from universities, will link to the hospitals and link to the sectors. Yeah, to try and compare targets' work against theirs and think they can social engineer work activities for targets, while the people that are implanting there already know what work is expected of them, because they've watched people working in there and they've got information from co-workers in there, people who already work in these companies. And then they come in and try and do a better job than the person they're up against, the targets, because they've been paid and bribed and manipulated and scripted and helped out to make sure that their work is always better than the person they're trying to stitch and frame into healthcare, mental health, depending on how well the target is. Same for the community members. When elderly people go out shopping, or the targets go out shopping, you want to put into elderly care homes, you can't compare that activity against anyone from the community or any over-operator that you think you can use against a person that you're trying to stitch and frame. This is how Coventry City Council roll people all over the world and in the UK. They're a corrupted, racketeering, defrauding establishment. And we've seen it out appears, retired ones in the Southampton Doctors Association, to public health, NHS, mental health and healthcare are allowing new generation of juniors to cheat their way to careers, to cheat their way to qualifications at the expense of people they're trying to get damning personal persecutions on. So I want the name of the people they've got on COVENTRY so they can go to prison for it, hauled in front of Nuremberg-style tribunals, because the equipment they've got is linked to government-graded armed forces equipment, Navy equipment, and they should be treated as war crimes, charged with war crimes for using that equipment every day in the community, in workplaces, and looking at people's bodies without the target's consent. That's what it's all about. Me, my mother, and my brother have never consented to be researched on, and we're demanding the major inquiry. But the UK government, we want compensation, and we want the covert operators named by Coventry Council Establishment, Judge and Jury, Coventry Police Force, and the senior peers, so they can go to prison for the crimes they've done. That's the memory to warn other covert operators, other future community and workplace mobbers, that you mess around with these technologies, with government-graded armed forces technologies, weapons, apparatus, equipment, devices, computers, and anything linked to audiology and outlining track and trace equipment, and overusing it every day. For over a day, you will go to prison for it. And there needs to be made examples of, because the person in charge thinks he can make an example out of me, my mother, my brother, and thinks he can get away with it. But the table's been turned on him. The UK government have to make an example out of this overt and covert team. Anyone who's participated over a day in the community and in the workplace against me, my mother or my brother, for how long it's been going on for. And any comparisons out there of people's bodies, of people's genitals, of people's everyday activities, they have to go to prison for it. As I stated before at the beginning, it does not take a genius or anyone else to assess someone longer than a couple of hours. Not over a day, not over a week, not over a month, not over many years. And so, because we've done that, they have to face the consequences and have to go to prison for it for a very long time, and made examples of by the UK government. They can't get away with it. So Coventry Council, Establishment, Board of Committee, Coventry Senior Police Officers, West Midlands Police Force Inspectors at Lloyd House start investigating the conduct of Coventry Police, Coventry CID, and if they deny any involvement in it, they need to investigate and find out who these covert operators are. And it was all linked to Coventry University Hospital, Coventry Council, Healthcare, Social Services, and Mental Health Administrators, and Public Health. We want the senior covert leader imprisoned long term, And we don't care what he states, what he's got in clinical close-up photographs, videos or sound recordings of me, my mother or my brother. We want every covert operator imprisoned. That's the reality the covert team need to face. Instead of hiding in the concrete jungle, hiding away from everyone's faces, because there's a riddle over their faces, etched all over their faces. The covert team are in serious crisis. If you look at their eyes, the covert operators' eyes are red sore. They're dilated, they're watery. And if you look deep into the senior leaders' eyes, and whoever the audience members are, in the sectors, their pupils are purple, which means that they're in crisis, they're critical, and they need to be emergenced into prison. Because they're broken desperados. So everyone digest it all, psychoanalyse it all, and realise, TIs, yeah, do not be intimidated by these covert operators doing all this illegal criminal practicing, non-consensual surveillance monitoring campaigns and experimenting in human behavioural modification programs and all the stuff that goes with it, linked to neuroscience skullduggery and linked to dream interpretation, and trying to use brain-computer interfaces to see what's in our thoughts, where another experiment also linked to dream interpretation and trying to capture our thoughts onto brain-computer interfaces is the Gateway Process Project. That's what's going on with these covert abusers, and I'm exposing them, and it's about time they face the consequences and face a very long time in prison and made examples of by the UK government. Over and out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, TIs. Over and out.